Well, looks like it's 6 o'clock and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Good evening and thank you for participating in our monthly meeting of the Kitsap County Parks Advisory Board. This meeting is being held both in person and remotely via Zoom. Before we begin, here are some guidelines and general instructions for the meeting. Please silence your other communication devices such as your cell phone or desk phone. This will ensure that we are not hearing any feedback or causing interruption during the meeting. Members of the public attending on Zoom, except for board members and county staff, will be placed on mute by the host. The chair will announce opportunities for public comment, which are included on the meeting agenda. Please adhere to the speaker time limit. For those on Zoom, if you would like to make a public comment, please click on the raise hand feature to signal that you would like to comment during the public comment period. You'll be unmuted. Please announce your name before speaking. And for those calling in using a phone line, only to wish to comment, dial 9 on your keypad to signal that you would like to comment. Please announce your name before speaking. Right, and we'll do introductions now. I'm Lisa Hurt. I'm in North Kitsap Park Advisory Board. Nancy Whitaker, Central Kitsap.
Linda Berry Murray, North Kitsap.
Whoops. Nancy Whitaker, Central Kitsap.
Yeah.
Got Larry Walker here, South Kitsap in the Zoom world.
Amy Smalley, South Kitsap.
I can't hear
Hi, Amy.
Amy,
Lauren.
do you want to try that again? We weren't able to pick you up.
Yeah, I'll try again. Can you hear me now?
See. Larry, can we have you check in, please?
Larry Walker, South Kitsap.
We're having issues. One moment, please. Sorry. One moment. Amy, would you mind trying again?
Amy Smalley, South Kitsap. Yay.
It's not quite there. I'm sorry. It's coming through the laptop.
Oh, yeah.
And Dee, I don't know if you can hear me, but Chuck here, we can hear everybody on our end in Zoom land.
Thank you, Chuck. Keep trying. Chuck, would you like to try that again?
Yeah, we can hear everybody just fine as far as our Zoom folks go, people online, and then also hear you in person. So it sounds like it might just be us coming to you.
Alex, can you please check?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear Alex just fine.
Let's go with that. Sorry.
As long as you can hear us just fine.
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank
Great.
you.
We had Larry, Amy, and we'll move on, I guess. Sorry, I don't want to take over the meeting. There we go.
All right, so we'll go over the minutes. Are there any corrections from last meeting's minutes? No, the minutes stand approved then? Okay.
Someone will need to.
We have motion for the, it says new natural supervisor. Is that your title or is it natural resources?
Natural resources.
Maybe this is one title. Okay. Thank you, Linda. Okay, so someone want to make a motion? I'll make a motion.
Larry so moved.
Second, thank you. So we're opening up now to our public comment period. We have 3 minutes for public to make a comment.
Here we go.
Yeah, speak right in.
All right. I was have up from represent the West Sound Disc Golf Association or Disc Golf Stewardship Group in the county. We help maintain the parks, 3 different courses, one gets up there here. And you know, it's Bad Park in Bremerton and Fancy Park in Port Richard. I'm just going to hear and chat now what we are at pretty large stewardship group in the county. We started up our winter monthly work parties at the Fairgrounds course here every first Saturday of the month. And I'll go to in April. Also celebration and all this storm breeze. With that, the second part of this is that we're actively looking for a new property in the county to install a new disc golf course. We drastically need 1 or 2 more courses in the county because the courses currently are really used. One of the areas that we are actually looking at is Square Lake property at the Heritage Park. I'm also part of the stewardship group at Heritage Park, and we've talked about it. They're right now, they've seen the preliminary proposal to install a disc golf course for the property, which is already currently specialized in the parks funding plan. And sometimes they will have a proposal to, but I just wanted to know that we are actually looking at to install a disc golf course at Square Lake State Park on the non-side. That's all I got. If you have any questions for me, but
Is that a proposal or are you already planning?
no. We've already walked the property and it's very ideal for what we want to do, but next step is to get it to the advisory board. And then once you guys are okay with it, we'll pick it up to the commissioners.
What's your name?
Sam,
Sam. Thank you, Sam.
thank you.
Is it? Any other comments? Yes. Yes.
Well, can the Zoom audience hear me? Just nod your heads. Yeah, thanks. I usually attend via Zoom and I can never hear anyone from this mic. Lower the mic.
You can take it. Yeah, take it out of the stand and hold it, and you can bring it right up to your mouth.
My name is Carol Price. I volunteer for Kingston Parks, Trails, and Open Spaces, or KPTOS. At our last meeting, the issue of outreach for volunteers for the work parties came up. We seem to be lacking some volunteers. And we were wondering if KPTOS meetings and work parties could be added to the Kitsap County Parks volunteers calendar. Because right now we're not on that. And this question led to a couple of other ones about why park stewards aren't members of the Parks Advisory Board. Now, I didn't have an answer for that, even though I attend these meetings. I don't know. Also, are members of KPTOS considered to be park stewards in the Kitsap County system? Are the members stewards considered stewards? Thanks.
Thank you, Carol.
I just make a comment that I'm a park steward at one of the parks. You said you wondered why there weren't park stewards on the board.
So it's a commissioner.
Larry is also.
And I am.
Sorry, this is Amy Lawrence. I also am.
It is a commissioner appointed position as well as Alex. Yeah, that's how I know I got the position. Yeah, commissioner. Yeah. I think there is a position opening up. I guess I thought I saw that on some news group. Is there a position on this word opening up?
Yeah, I can touch on that. So Joanne resigned from the board effective at the end of this year. And so currently Lisa, Nancy, and Larry, your terms are all set to expire at the end of this year and have to get reappointed by the commissioners. So they do open it up for outside applicants as well. So it's up to the commissioners on the reappointment. So that's why the positions are open right now, mainly looking for Joanne's.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Joanne South Kitsap, but you'll see because of the reappointments, they're promoting all three districts for openings up.
Oh, we do have another comment.
Okay, just a follow-up of what the previous speaker said. I had a meeting with Don Docker, who is the South Kitsap Clover Creek steward and coordinator. And I'm with the Kitsap Aircraft Radio Control Society. I was calling myself a steward because we are the principal maintainers of our flying site. And Don said that no, in all respects, we are not stewards, we are volunteers. Because stewards have to go ahead and they get extra training to get the title of stewards. So we volunteer to go ahead and do a lot of the maintenance and upkeep and of our facility, but we're not really classified as a technical steward. So but if she was incorrect, like I say, I've got 80 people in our club that we actually classify ourselves as stewards because we do all the maintenance there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Interesting.
Linda? Lisa, I was going to suggest maybe we ask Alex next meeting to do a little bit of clarification, but it's my understanding is that the official stewardship groups were designated for some of the big parks. Specifically for the big parks. I know up in Port Gamble, we were taking care of the park before we got official stewardship status. And it also had to do with staffing support to be able to participate and work with those groups. So I think there's a bit of an in Parks Department internal process for design for designated stewardship groups formally.
And I know it's part of the pros plan too. They mentioned stewardship groups being ultimately very important.
Right.
I suspect that there's a little bit of difference in a lot of the bigger, more established groups. Newberry Hill, 3 work parties and attend the meeting, you're a steward. And you get your best.
Okay, now I know the volunteer handbook now has specific criteria and I know there's a bunch of stewards that are having issues with that criteria. So maybe it's something we all need to go over again at some point.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a work in progress.
Yeah.
Figuring out what the line is there, and some of it has to do with some of the stewardship groups develop work plans and who gets to vote on those work plans. So it has more to do with that than who can call themselves an official steward. But I agree, as the new guy in the room, we could definitely do some work defining in terms of what we mean when we have all these different titles for our.
That'd be good. Obviously, we have a lot of
Yeah.
people that.
Yeah. And I just want to speak to Carol's comment a little bit, is that recently we are working on kind of re-engaging with the KP TOS group a little bit more. So we're looking forward to working with you all some more.
Right. Okay. Any other comments from Zoom or? Not everyone. Okay, looks like we're moving on to, do we have a special presentation? It says none, but no. No, none. Position elections?
Yep, I can start on that and hand it over here real quick.
Okay.
All right. First, I'll just address that obviously Alex he's not here tonight. We decided to let him go on vacation. So as staff, we're all covering for him this evening. First item here, just want to let you know, I know Linda brought it up earlier about last meeting and some of the sound on Zoom. So if you guys have any issues, please let us know. We're trying some new things and we acknowledge it might not be perfect, but let us know because we really want to get it perfect and make sure everyone can hear on Zoom so that we can do this effectively. So moving on to the position elections, last meeting, we developed the nominating committee of John, Larry, and Linda for the position of chair and vice chair of the elections, which we're required to do in January of the new year. As I mentioned, we are moving through getting the reappointments done for Lisa and hopefully Nancy and Larry. And then I will now hand it over to the nominating committee to speak about their nominations so that we can have a plan going into January.
And we have not met, so there's that challenge. But I had also asked if Alex, and I know he's not here, I was a little confused last year by the, we have the vice president, vice chair, the chair, and we have they can only serve 2 years. And then there's a 4-year period that follows that where you can't serve. And I wasn't sure who all's still within that 4-year period. I think I've been on the board 3 years. So I don't know if we have, Joanne resigned. And I don't know who all has served in those positions in the last 4 years. So we know whether they're still in an excluded period or not. I don't know, maybe John or Larry know, they've been on the board for a long time.
Okay, I'll go ahead and chime in. I think John, he's sitting there being extremely quiet, drinking his dadgum eggnog. John, I believe, is the only one who would be precluded from stepping up as chair because he's still in his 4-year lockout. Other than that, I think all board members are eligible.
I'm going to agree with him that since Joanne is not on the board anymore, and who was the vice president this year? Lisa?
Yep.
Okay. She is eligible still to be nominated for chairperson since she's the assistant. And so we kind of had a little email today, texting, whichever it was, yesterday and today, and I guess I can say who we are asking to take the positions to be nominated. Does that
John,
sound good?
I was on that committee and I was driving. I did not see a text exchange that I participated in.
There was some email traffic that went out like 2 days ago that was generated off of my desk. John and I were texting back and forth trying to figure out exactly whether we'd come to the meeting or whether we were going to hide at home and him nurse so whatever he's nursing and me nurse my cold. But you did get included on some email conversations the other day when Alex's stuff came through.
Right. We did that. And so Lisa had volunteered to do it, to become chairperson. And we were going to ask Nancy if she would be willing to, was it Nancy? Yes, Nancy, if she would be willing to be vice chair. Larry?
I was waiting for Nancy to respond.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess it depends on if I get back on the board.
True.
Did you respond to the message coming out asking if you were interested in staying aboard?
She had no message too.
Tell you how much people check for you.
Yeah. Nancy, I was going to ask you tonight if you received my email. But I just seen it in writing, so we'll talk after that.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I got Alex's. Stand out.
Okay, so Linda, seeing how you missed some of the email traffic and everything, because apparently you have a life and I just live on my phone. Now that you've been kind of read in on this stuff, do you concur? Or would you like to have a little more conversation on this?
I would like to have a little more conversation to see if there are other people that are interested and make sure. I didn't see it. I was in Portland with sisters coming out of the hospital and drove home this afternoon. So I didn't catch that email that did come through. And I do have maybe at least and I could talk after.
Okay, so here's a thought,
No, we can't
Alex,
until January. Right?
Correct, the voting would be in January.
okay, here's what I'll do. I will send out another email tonight and so that the three of us can get all on the same page and either put together an email conversation or maybe a mini Zoom or something of that nature so we can discuss this. Also, I would request of every member of the board, please send me an email or actually send it to Alex so that she can forward it out to me. If you're interested in not serving.
Like the way you put that.
Okay, are we all done with that for the moment? Yes, okay. So now we're moving on to our parks report for the evening.
All right, so Parks report this evening. I'm actually going to start and introduce Irene Weber to our team. She is our natural resources supervisor, and I'll let her introduce herself and her program.
Hi, everybody. Yes, as Alex said, my name is Irene Weber. Some of you I've met before, and some of you I'm excited to meet for the first time tonight and moving forward. So I'm in my 4th week here at Kitsap County, and I am the new Natural Resource Program Supervisor. So if you knew Arno Bergstrom, he was the former county forester / natural resource program supervisor. So that position has now been split into 2 positions. So I'm the natural resource supervisor. And I oversee the work of the natural resource coordinators as well as the county forester, who we are currently in the hiring process for. I'm excited to be here. I grew up in Washington, so I'm really happy to be back home and working in my home state. I came here previously. My most recent job was with the DNR, where I worked for the Washington Natural Heritage Program, which is a scientific arm of the DNR and the state at large, where we would help identify conservation priorities throughout the state. There I was a vegetation ecologist. My background is in plants and plant things. Prior to working for the DNR, I worked for a county parks organization in Colorado, which has a lot of similar opportunities and challenges that we have here at Kitsap County Parks. So I'm excited to be back in the parks management realm of things, and looking forward to working with our 3 great natural resource coordinators and helping to build some of our natural resource and conservation capacity in-house, which is really exciting. So I have the same phone numbers as Arno. So if you had Arno's old phone numbers, you have mine now. And you know how the emails work. I'm sure you can find my email as well. So if anyone has any questions about me or my position or just wants to chat, I'd be happy to.
Thank you, Irene. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, very glad to have you here. So moving on, I know last month Alex touched on our position hiring. So you just met Irene, who started with us. With our planning and capital program supervisor, we are still looking to fill that vacancy. The position is currently posted, but we have had very few, if any, applicants who are qualified come through. So we did just do a new marketing YouTube video this week that was released on the position. Alex W is narrating it. So you should definitely look and check that out. It's great. Please share it, as we would love to get that position filled here as soon as possible. The capital project specialist position, as Alex W informed last month, we did have a final candidate, and we're in the middle of an offer letter when they came back and said we accepted another job. So we are back to the beginning, unfortunately, with that position. And so it is currently re-advertised. So again, the capital project specialist position, we were almost there. Candidate got away. So please share that position as well. 2 very important positions that we would need to get filled here. The forester position is, we have interviews scheduled for that. Do you know what those are?
Yeah, we're going to be doing phone screens for candidates the week after Thanksgiving, and then in-person interviews will probably be a week or two after that. So hoping to have somebody on, depending on who we end up offering the job to towards the end of the year, hopefully at the latest beginning of next year.
Thank you. And then two positions that aren't on this list are our maintenance and operations worker positions. We have two vacancies that recently came up. So we will be looking to hire two M&L workers, hopefully by the end of the year. All right, so the next item, I will actually hand off to Brian Hoschel, who's our maintenance supervisor, to talk about some of our capital projects.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Alex, for the introduction. As you know, I'm Brian Hoschel. I'm the Maintenance and Operations Program Supervisor for County Parks and quasi planner / project manager. So to give you kind of an update on where we're at on a few particular items, the no point restoration, phase 1 is proceeding forward. We're hoping for the permitting to end at the end of the month. We're hoping that there's not going to be any hesitation with that. Simultaneously, we're working with a contractor to check on his availability and the ability to complete that job and process. So more to come on that early next month. The game plan is that we have king tides that are coming up towards the end of Thanksgiving. We're aware of those. We're going to be monitoring those. We've moved super sacks into place to protect what we do already have at no point. But we're also going to be looking at trying to get this work done. It's going to be in a very, very short time frame. So there's quite a pinch on that. We have 14 days after the permit has been filed, and we have 60 days to complete the work. So that's a tight time frame to get everybody under contract and get everybody mobilized and get the material needed out there. So we're doing our best to ensure that happens. I have a couple things. So we have some building demolitions that are progressing forward as well. That includes the log cabin that is at the fairgrounds, Anna Smith garage, the Long Lake residence, and the next Lagoon former residence. Those bids have been awarded, and we are actively trying to put some contracts together and get those scheduled. So we don't have dates yet, but those things are in progress. As for the HVAC units at the fairgrounds office, which is long overdue, that's supposed to go in front of the BOCC, the county commissioners, on November 27th for approval, so we can start to get that scheduled and get those facilities back up and running as soon as possible. An update on North Kitsap Heritage Park. The Stottlemyre parking lot has gone out for bid. As we seek those bids, that is supposed to close on November 28th. After the 28th, we'll be working on getting somebody under contract and scheduling for those improvements there in North Kitsap. So that's about all I have to share out for this evening. But if anybody has any questions,
Brian, sorry, I think that was Port Gamble, correct? The Stottlemyre.
Yeah, you said North Kitsap.
I did say North Kitsap, my bad.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so Irene, I will actually hand it back to you for the update on the recognition event.
Sure. I can take very little credit for the recognition event because that was my fourth day, I think, with the county that we had that event. So big shout out to Aaron, Sierra, and Victoria for the amount of work that they put into that. It was a really successful event. We had about 80 people in attendance, handed out a number of awards. And have some good ideas for next year to make it even better. It was a really sunny Saturday, so I'm really glad that people gave up maybe one of the last sunny Saturdays of the year to come and celebrate with us. So it was a really good event. And we had a couple of the commissioners there as well. I think we gave out, let's see. I've got the awardees here in the notes. We gave out 8 awards, I believe. Just to some really great folks. We've got a really deep bench of wonderful volunteers here. So I'm really excited to get to know all of them better.
I attended and Larry, I think you were there. And I felt like it would be good to have the advisory board more involved in that. I felt like I didn't even know if I was supposed to be there. I mean, I was there as a park. I got an invitation because I'm a park steward, but it was kind of weird.
Yeah, I think that's really great feedback. We'll make sure to put that in the notes for next year.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, some people don't even know about the advisory board. And that's a good place, not only to get people interested in serving, people that are very active in the community, but also, way that we can help.
Yes, definitely. I will keep that in mind for next year. I think we can really make some good improvements and have a really great volunteer appreciation event next year.
I wanted to just ask, I see that, that Mark Shorn was recognized with a Legacy Award from North Region, and Mark has been really just unbelievably stellar for 10 years, actually from before the park was a park. So, he has been, park staff. I mean, he was weed whacking and he has built so much of that park. I'm really glad to see him recognized. I don't know, and I guess it's a surprise who's getting the award. I think that at least, I know I was out of town that weekend, but I expect that more people, particularly since Mark chaired the Port Gamble Stewardship Committee for so long, there might have been more people pre-register and attend if they'd known he was going to be honored. He surely deserved it. So thank you for. I expect there's something up there that also helped nominate you.
I would second that, because a lot of Newberry Hill people would have been attending that Frank Strickland, who wasn't there to receive his award, but it was again very well deserved.
Yeah, that's great feedback. I will add that to my notes. I've got a running list of things we can do for next year.
All right, moving on, I will actually hand it over to Chuck now, who's going to talk about the updates with the pros plan and where we're at the moment.
Great. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I really appreciate the attention today. As you know, we're in the public engagement information collection phase of the pros plan. I won't spend too much time going over where we've been, but I'd say the most exciting part of it was last week. We completed about 4 open houses. I'll say 4 because we did include the staff with one of those. So we had open houses one was on Monday for the North District, and then one was on Tuesday for the Central District, and then one was on Thursday for the South District. And I put them that way because sometimes we get confused with the numbers. North is 1, South is 2, Central is 3, right? So so just to clarify, we one in up in Kingston at Village Green, which was well attended. We had 50 plus attendees. The format of the open house was kind of taking the maps and error tool that we currently have, and I'll go more into the next phase of the survey process itself. But taking that tool and literally putting maps out on tables and allowing the constituents to come in and draw on those maps what they would like to see. So that's everything from conservation to connectivity, which would be like, how do we connect trails? How do we connect parks? What does that look like? Conservation, I think, speaks for itself. And then safety, of course, what would people like to see to increase safety and usability as far as the parks go? And what does that look like? Everything from kind of verging on connectivity to, but how can we make sure or ensure that people are having the facilities they need to adequately participate safely in our their recreation programs, I should say. And then we also invited the commissioners. So we did have 2 commissioners show up to each of the districts. We were happy to see them there. I thought that was great. The one for the Central, we had about 30 people. And then one for South, we had about 25 plus, give or take, coming in and out. Larry, thanks for attending. We really appreciated that. And if anybody else I missed just from talking to people, thank you for attending as well. So it was a great turnout, and I feel like we got a lot of great feedback. Oh, John, I think you were there as well. So thank you. Yeah, it was literally taking sticky dots and notes and drawing on the maps. And I think our consultant was really happy with the feedback that we had. We did, and I added that 4th one in there because we used our last all staff meeting as an opportunity to get feedback from the staff to do the same work, safety, connectivity. They're the boots on the ground. What do they see every day, and how can we best fit their need while also fitting the need of our constituents that are visiting our parks? The current survey, which is survey number 2, is the visioning survey. So that one, we've actually added another component to it for those that weren't, the Maps and Error tool, we could see how it was a little bit difficult on mobile devices. But the intention was to be able to have it be interactive and draw what you wanted to see and kind of connect things and really have that hands-on approach. But we did add another element that answers those questions. So it's more of a quote unquote analog style survey for you to upload images of what you would like to see from maps, or even just put them verbally into the survey themselves. So we're just trying to still fit that need for those users that can't quite go on the current Maps and Error tool and make it readily available. So you'll see that plugin come this week, and I think ideally it'll expand. For survey number 2, we have about I think 18.5, so 1,008, about 1,800, give or take, comments on our current tool. That doesn't include the open houses. For reference, our first survey, we had about 2,600. So we're looking to surpass that number as far as the tracking goes right now. And this survey will go into the first week of December, give or take. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity to really get involved and get their hands on the current survey. Following this survey, there will just be a prioritization survey that comes out. So I know this is me saying survey a lot, right? But we want to make sure that we're really being intentional with everything. So the first part is, where do you go? What do you do? And then the second part is, what would you like to see? And the third part is gathering all that data and then just really prioritizing what you would like to go where. And that'll all be used in the future of the PROS plan. I know I spoke kind of quickly. Is there anything that, any feedback that we have? John or Larry, any feedback from the open houses that you'd like to share?
I've got some feedback.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so just following up on the outreach tracking that I think last meeting, we asked about the stakeholder interviews, and you have listed down like athletic groups, environmental groups, blah, 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 but you didn't actually list them. And I think it said see list, and I don't see a list of those listed names of what groups were actually reached out to. And it says the only way you reached out was via email. So I was just following up on that question. And I was at the North Kitsap one as well, so.
Right, good question. I think we could, I can definitely update the tracking mechanism for public outreach to, I think delivery method may not capture everything under there. So maybe we can add a component of how these were conducted. We can
Also, who they were, like what groups did you contact? Because
Right.
I've spoken to several and nobody that I've spoken to were contacted, so.
Yeah, I'll definitely follow up and provide that list offline if that's okay with you. So,
Yeah, that would be great.
yeah,
thank you.
not a problem at all. We have a comprehensive list and it's still growing, so we're still doing that outreach as things progress. So if you have people that feel like they weren't can't contacted, please share them with us. We'd be happy to reach out as well. But on that note, I didn't include the fact that we are I'm going to be going into the school districts early December and doing some tabling events just to get some youth feedback for the pros plan survey itself. So I think it's important to get that youth component in there. And I think that was expressed amongst the group as well.
Nancy?
The partners worked with this period. I don't see Washington Trails Association listed. And I'm really surprised they're not.
Let me go back and look at our tracking mechanism and make sure that they were one of the stakeholders that were listed on there for outreach. We did, if no one responded to our interview request, we did send a questionnaire as a follow-up to make sure that people would be able to engage. So let me go back and just, I'm pretty sure they're on the list, but I want to make sure that they are. So
Chuck, I think maybe the list you're referring to, Nancy, is in our natural resources program update. Partners work with this period.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that was part of what he was talking about.
That's okay. We definitely work with Washington Trails Association in during that period. It's just an oversight. They're not in here, but I do believe they did some work in the parks in October.
and I do believe we reached out to them, but I'll definitely follow up as well. So
And should that be put in the minutes for a correction? Yeah.
any other questions on the pros plan? Any feedback on the open houses? No?
It was really kind of interesting because they didn't even slap my hand when I picked up a marker. I figured Sierra would probably do that. But what was fun was doing the maps and the trails, and that one, I was able to put a trail on there that Central Kitsap Community Council had kind of mapped out 20 years ago. And nothing ever came of it, but it started down at Jarstead Park, ran up along the railroad track up over by the quarry, and then back up along the up on the Uland, and then came across Newberry Hill and down the Chico Way and up onto the Clear Creek Trail. And it was really kind of a neat deal, but we weren't ever able to do it. But I got that one penciled in this time, so we'll see what happens. It's some trail already, but it's got some open spots in it.
Great. Well, thanks, John. I really appreciate your participation. I know that there was also a lot of drawing going on the maps that didn't necessarily correlate to the umbrella of parks, but we're also going to share that feedback with other departments, be it public works or wherever those fall, as far as road mapping, safety, all those things go. So rest assured, we want to work with all the departments across the board to make sure that this information is as comprehensive as possible, because for lack of better terms, it does feed into the comp plan. So we think that that is valuable input and very, very important and appreciated. So yeah, I just really appreciate everybody's time. And I think this is probably one of the most, I'll say, most in-depth pros plans that I've been a part of, having gone through 2 of them before with other organizations. So I think that it's just the outreach that we're doing, I think is great. But was there a question? Another question?
Chuck, I was wondering, so I actually had a flat tire. I spent 6 hours my tire fixed instead of going to the, the open house in North Kitsap. So I did miss it. Is there an overlap between those workshops that were held last week and the online process that's open right now? Or are they really two different things, two different parts of the maps, the ability to share that kind of graphic?
I would say there's a lot of overlap between the two. So when we took those maps, the online tool right now is really the same thing as we were doing with the maps. You're able to click and draw and do all those things. So, and it also provided us the opportunity. I put out some comment cards so we could just get some candid feedback that just maybe you couldn't otherwise draw or iterate on something. So we took all those comment cards and we received about, I want to say 30 plus comment cards throughout the process. So there is quite a bit of overlap there. And we're consistently getting emails and feedback as well as things go along. So all that's being curated and correlated to send off to the consultant.
And if we send those links to that new outreach, you said that would be open through the first week of December. So is that December 8th?
Give or take. I mean, our goal is to leave it open through November, but I think that we want as much feedback as possible. And we don't necessarily want to say, hey, this is your deadline, because we want to make sure that people are still receiving it and they don't feel like they missed the boat. So, but right now we're targeting December 8th. Yes.
December 8th. Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
And we'll announce that, hey, the survey is closing, so on and so forth. But right now we just want to leave it open-ended.
I just want to make sure that if we put in a newsletter that says that the pros plan, that this outreach will be open through December 8th, will that be accurate?
That is correct. And I'm happy to share that with you and put together some verbiage even if you would like. So, okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I know I took a lot of time. I apologize. Any other questions?
All right, Chuck, just a little bit of feedback from the south end there. I think, it wasn't a huge gathering, but it was a really positive thing, which you and your consultant did a really good job of making that work. And I think that one of the most positive things that came out of that was the fact that community members felt heard and validated, which is just absolutely huge in this business. And one other thing, you may owe me big. I may take a bullet for you because I have already established contact with the lady from SKGSA.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Larry. I appreciate that.
And she's softball and soccer.
No, that's great. I think Larry put it best. There's a lot of candid feedback, and I feel like, just having attended all of these meetings, everybody did really feel like their voice was heard. And I don't know, that, not to get warm and fuzzy, but it warmed my heart to have people approach us like that. So. All right, I'll turn.
In the south end, we got to watch a wedding go on too.
we did. We had see a lot of go on that night. So, but yeah, I'll turn it back over to you, Alex Hardy, if that's okay.
Thank you, Chuck. And that's all I have for not the director's report, but more the staff report, I guess, this time around, unless anyone has questions. Okay, Lisa, I'll let you take over.
Okay, so that included the director's report. So we're on the subcommittee reports, and I don't think we have any because nobody met. Okay. And so we're on to old business. Is there anybody that has any old business they want to bring up? I wanted to just bring up to find out if there's any kind of news on the beaver situation. So I just had that to bring up and put in the minutes.
I don't have a huge update, but it is on my to-do list as the new guy to reach out to. I know there's some folks at DCD who are doing some work on figuring out what our beaver policies are. So reaching out to them. I also believe that WDFW is doing some evaluation of their beaver relocation recommendations and policies. So news will hopefully be forthcoming, and we'll be able to provide a better update in the near future.
Thanks, Irene.
Just a comment, because for the meeting, we talked a little bit, but, it's called, they changed their name, but basically the stormwater group killed the beaver that maintained the pond and the farthest north pond in Newberry Hill. A tree had gone down and knocked down the fence, and the beavers do what they do, and they went in and started chopping and eating the tree. And the beavers heard running water, so the beavers do what they do and started blocking up the drainage. So they killed the beavers. The park stewards would have happily gone and removed the tree, fixed the fence, whatever, to let the beavers live and not be disturbing public. It's not public works, it's stormwater. An issue, but we're not given that opportunity. And so anyway, I just want to say that maybe that would be a group you'd want to talk to, because
Yeah, I can definitely see there's some opportunity for improvements with cross-department communication. So I will look into that and figure out what happened there and how we can be better involved next time.
thank you, Nancy.
I was wondering if you could, that was one of the things that Alex mentioned last meeting that I could not understand at all what he said. Where was it? So this was at Newberry
I brought it
Hill?
up. It was at Point No Point. And they euthanized, I think it was two beavers. And because they were blocking up some storm drain.
And it was a couple of years ago at Newberry that they did. No?
Because a number of years, actually, it was before North Kitsap Heritage Park Phase 2 was purchased by the county, but North Kitsap Trails Association worked with DFW and got permission to build the beaver to see if it's still out there functioning. And you know, there's a lot of beavers do good things.
Exactly.
Yeah, beavers are real ecosystem engineers. So they can do a lot of good work for the environment. And there's a lot of different ways to manage beaver impacts, either to promote beaver usage or discourage it. So that's certainly something that we can look into further.
It was right after the Newberry Hill situation that a bill, and it went through really fast, that changed the law because you weren't allowed to relocate beaver previously.
Mhm.
And it changed the law to allow trained people to
Mhm.
relocate. So that partially we came out of that
Yeah.
disaster at Newberry Hill.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexity when it comes to beaver relocations, and I'm a plant person, so I'm definitely not an expert. But from my experience with wildlife relocations, there's a lot of complexity there in terms of making sure that we're not impacting other beaver populations and things like that. So I think DFW is in another round of refining what those recommendations are. So hopefully we'll be able to come to a better solution.
Surprisingly, they are also dangerous to be trying to relocate.
Yes, definitely.
Think about the fact that they can cut down a tree. Yeah.
Amy Lawrence has a comment.
Hi, thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I thought I heard, I was talking to Tom Coleman at Newberry, and I thought that Newberry was actually one of the places where we were thinking about, or maybe actually could relocate beavers to. Is that not right? Is that just a rumor? Is that something in the works?
I know they, ever since those were killed, we were hoping some of the population in the other pond would relocate. The children get kicked out, and then hoping they would relocate there, but there has been discussion. I don't know, at meetings tomorrow night for the Newberry Hill Park, so I'll ask.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly in favor of trying to relocate them instead of, I missed the discussion last meeting. I wasn't there, but that doesn't sound like it's in line with what we should be trying to do, obviously.
Obviously. Right.
Thank you, Amy. Any other old business?
Yes. There you go. Push the button, sorry. I just want to report out the Port Gamble Park stewards met at the beginning of the month. working on an array of projects, but still waiting for feedback. I'm not sure if other stewardship groups are kind of on hold, basically just doing maintenance now, but I know there's a lot of interest in getting some resolution, particularly on we know that the amount that was approved in the work plan by the County Parks Department, we're not clear on exactly what's approved. And I think, one of the other things moving forward is that we are really interested now that the Stottlemyre parking lot is out there going to be built, which is great. We want to make sure that we get a proposed path. We weren't sure if some of that funding was approved or not. So still waiting for that. I also wanted to mention, in addition to just maintenance and reviewing things like that, one of the suggestions that came out that I thought was pretty good idea was one of the bicyclists was going to provide bells for bikes. There's always concerns about, how user groups share, and the idea of having a bell on a bike is pretty nice for those of us that are out there walking. Because I have noticed a couple times now I've heard a bell as a bicyclist approach, and it's nice to have that. It's not the chang chang like the little kids. It's just like a bear bell like you might have on your backpack stick. So I thought that was a nice idea.
I have something to ask too about Port Campbell Heritage Forest Park. Anyway, there's been a lot of concern raised about how it's becoming a more bike-centric park, and the bikes are kind of out of control right now, like going through streams. And I just heard another pedestrian kind of got sprained their ankle the other day because a bike like almost collided with them. And I talked to an equestrian person the other day who was like, they were eating blackberries, the horses were, and this bike came ripping through, and the horse bucked up and she like wrenched her neck out. And so I was wondering, with the funding, if there's any way to get signs put up to encourage bikers to stay out of the streams and to stay on the trails and to, let pedestrians have the right of way, and, on and on and on. There's a lot of rules that it seems like a lot of these new bikers don't follow. And, it's like, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And it seems like they're already taking more than a mile.
There is a sign out there. I think it was the Mountain Bike Association, maybe, but I know that we talked about putting them up in Newberry, and it's kind of a circle. Basically, it's people and bikes yield to horses. Bikes yields to hikers. So it's a list of the appropriate yielding.
There you go.
And I'll have to try and see if I can find a picture of that sign, but something, that says all people yield to, everybody yields to horses.
And that's important, but also like I remember at Port Gamble, there used to be problems before, the bike park went in, even that the people that built the trails were having trouble keeping bikers on the trails, because the bikers love to go off trail and create new trails. And it seems like I'm seeing that. Seems like it's happening a lot again. And it's just by putting up signs, maybe, I know it's hard to tell people what to do, but it sure would be good if, they would start following the rules and stop going through the streams like springs, they're out of control.
So signs were discussed, and in fact, Lisa, I specifically brought up and shared that typical brown triangle sign. And there is one sign that I had mentioned, the top of Downhill, that is just wrong. Because it shows everybody running into each other. It doesn't say yield, which is an important part so that Downhill sign really needs to be removed. I think Sierra was going to talk to Emma about it, but I did bring up, because Aaron Bartleson had mentioned it as well. And it seems to me that Port Gamble does need some of those reminder signs. And, I'm not a bicyclist. The great majority of people are really considerate, but it doesn't take that many. And I know that there have also been some of the stewards have been working to put some of those reminder signs out about, the wetlands. So I think Sierra had gotten them 4 of those habitat signs to put in place, you know, which are the Parks Department's polite way of saying, no, you should not be riding here. So one of the budget requests was for additional of those signs to help. And, you know, we don't want, you know, there's always this line between what people call visual clutter, but those, you know, brown reminder signs that know, you know, you are actually supposed to yield, I think are pretty important to get out there.
Yeah, I know I've been at Port Gamble a couple of times when there's one that's you're only supposed to ride up the trail, but people were coming down. And at first I was kind of like, I wanted to say, what are you doing? And then I realized it was close to the really difficult trails down. And I have a feeling that this particular person took one look at those other trails and said, and came down though, you know, so I had some sympathy and I didn't say anything, but you know, and even some warning signs, you know, on some of the tighter trails that, you know, people on the trail, you know, hikers on the trail and bikes on the trail, so that other people are aware it's not just a bike trail. It's not just a.
Brian has a comment.
Brian? Oh, there he is.
Brian, you're muted.
Muted.
Sorry about that. And I appreciate everybody's insight on it. And signs are as good as the person that's reading it.
Yeah.
You know, if they choose not to read the sign, they choose to do whatever. From a parks perspective, we don't have authority to enforce. So what is the overall solution at the end of the day? We can put up the signs, but if people don't adhere to them, then what? And I guess that's my overall and overarching question to everybody here, that, yeah, we can put up signs, but then what?
And I think to add to that is that signage and education on proper trail usage has been a common theme in the pros plan discussions. It was on the maps that I saw. And it was also a big concern that was brought up amongst our staff at the meeting of how can we educate and, you know, without the enforcement part of our department, how can we work to add signage, but also educate the public on what that is. So that's been a big theme in a lot of our conversations, especially with the pros plan. And it was every the North Central and South meetings that was brought up.
So
Yeah.
I want to mention.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Alex. And you know, and that's kind of the big divide. Is a lot of people think that just because we throw up a sign that we have enforcement opportunities to you know, to engage with the public. What we can do from our perspective is educate the public. And how do we do that? And what does that look like? And what does that messaging look like? And I think that's all what's really going to come out as part of our pros plan, like Alex said, of, you know, how do we go about this best? And, you know, I would implore everybody on the Parks Advisory Board to think about, you know, do you have solutions or ideas? And if you do, please comment and help us out and figure out how we can do things better.
Linda or John? Linda?
I was going to mention that when the first part of the North Kitsap Heritage Park was first purchased, so North Kitsap Trails Association and some other volunteers that later became the North Kitsap Heritage Park stewards worked together on that project, trying to get that park opened up. And we had a lot of problems initially with dirt bikes. The people that lived around there were used to doing a lot of dirt biking, and it really was a process. So, you know, yes, there were signs and sometimes people would speak up, but gradually there was an education about it that happened, but it didn't happen overnight. It happened over a number of years, and people started working, you know, trying to be pretty positive when you talk to people, because you really don't want to be out in the woods and confront somebody. And I know that some of the mountain bike community in Port Gamble, particularly Mark Shorn, who was recognized here tonight. He has taken such a leadership role trying to talk to, as a mountain biker, to other mountain bikers, talk to mountain bikers who are not, doing the right thing, trying to encourage them and trying to engage them in doing building where they should be building, not, there's been a lot of road building, trail building too. And I think that especially in Port Gamble, you just have such a big piece of land that we're still in that kind of same phase that it took 3 or 4 years and then North gets up Heritage Park, and it's just going to take a while too. But I do think that those brown reminder signs, to my knowledge, there's only one of those share signs out there, and it's wrong. Which, for a park with that much bike use, I think it really helps to remind, particularly the cyclists, especially when they are racing. I think that having those share signs and also having reminders at the events that these are shared trails and that they need to be aware that there are walkers on the trails and that if the park's not closed for them, I would think that kind of reminder at the beginning of the events. And I also wanted to mention that one of the things we're going to be putting on an upcoming agenda is that the meeting where we met with you after you've been here a whole 4 days, where all the stewardship group leadership was talking with Parks Department. It came up, the Parks Department really does have a policy of having all trails be shared use, multi-use trails. And in Port Gamble, even within the framework and also in practice, we have some separated trails. The shoreline trail doesn't allow bikes, isn't set up, or it doesn't allow horses. We have those spurred trails off the Beaver Pond where it doesn't have bikes or horses or dogs. And then we have the ride park up there as well. So I think that's, there will be a more conversation with that, and wanting to come back to the park staff to talk about that, because I expect that the stewards are going to feel pretty strongly that not all trails in that park are set up to be shared use. And, Ranger.
Ranger corridor, I was just going to say.
Yikes.
Total.
Yeah. And so I think there'll need to be more discussion on that one, because it's a complex issue.
Yes, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm misspeaking here, is that our parks code hasn't been updated in quite a while. So if and when we go through that process, definitions of multi-use and what that means will likely be a part of that.
And the process is ongoing right now. Our legal team is helping us with an update to our parks code. So I don't know, we don't have a timeline, but we are working to update it, as I think we have one of the oldest codes in the entire county.
Do we have a committee? I think I'm on that committee, but are we going to use our committee to do that?
Yes, it will get reviewed as standard for the Parks Advisory Board. Any code or updates, we will send it out to that committee to review, make feedback, comments, and that happens before it comes to the entire Parks Board for a vote.
Good. John, did you have a comment?
I was just going to say that the other thing on the bikes that we need to take care of or find out is what the status of class 3 bikes, mountain bikes are, or electric bikes. Up at Newberry Hill a couple weeks ago, we had 3 people on mountain bikes that went zipping through, and no warning. Of course, you can't hear them. The guys aren't huffing and puffing because they're not pedaling. They're just strictly under power. And I yelled something at them about, you're not supposed to be on this trail. And all I got was 3 middle fingers in return, and away they went. And it's just when they are that inconsiderate, and when they figure they can break the rule, if the rule is no class 3s, no motorized mountain bikes or e-bikes on that trail. I know we can do class 1s and 2s, but we got to figure that one about class 3s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had someone inquiring about that just recently, so it's important. Okay. Any more old business? Okay, moving on to new business. New business.
I was just going to say under new business that since we won't be meeting next month, I would like to say Merry Christmas. I didn't do that. And the reason for the mask is we do have a COVID in the house and he wanders in and out. He's he's a special needs stepchild, so he hasn't quite gotten the concept even at his older age of quarantine. So when he shows up, I have to go into mask. So that's the reason for that.
No worries, John. Thank you. Okay, new business. I guess we're supposed to go in order 1, 2, 3, like North Kitsap. Is that what you mean, Vince?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have some, but
Okay.
I'm afraid.
I do too. I have some for North Kitsap. Anyone else before I start? Okay, I just wanted to, well, I don't even know, bring it to people's awareness that there's been a hearing that's been going on the past 3 days, a big lawsuit that some of our park stewards and concerned citizens have coughed up a heck of a lot of money to try to protect the wetlands in North Kitsap Heritage Park. And it seems to be that this big Arborwood development or part of it, it's again, stormwater. Here we go again, mentioning, I don't know what these people are thinking, but the way the stormwater system is working out in that park is that they have a direct line pipe that will just shoot this big flow of contaminated, you know, tire, runoff, whatever, water right into the wetlands. And it's 3 days. I was glued to that hearing. It was fascinating. I learned so much. They had expert witnesses and just great information. But I'm curious, do the parks even, are they aware that this is even going on? Because it does impact our park and our wetlands in the park. And why aren't we backing up the stewards and the citizens that are trying to protect our park? Because it's our park. And is that our job? Do we do that?
No, those are really good questions. And I did speak with Alex today and he would like to address that next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we having a meeting next?
I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure.
John just said we're not. So
I know historically December, we have never had a meeting.
Okay, because it just seems like it's pretty important and they're taking a week off, you know, because of conflict timing, but yeah, it's pretty intense stuff.
I would definitely encourage you to email Alex and he can provide more of a comment at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, that's North Kitsap. Anyone else? How about number 2? Number 2, Central Kitsap. No, that's, oh, you're 3. Okay, so South Kitsap. Anyone from South? Have any new business? No? Okay.
Well, the only thing I've got is the work party recently over at Banner Forest got shut down due to foul weather, extremely foul weather. So other than that, they're basically doing general maintenance, trail brushing, things of that nature.
Thank you, Larry. Okay. Central?
Yeah, so a week from tomorrow, Newberry Hill is playing host to a turkey trot run that is organized by the Silverdale Rotary Club. It's a joint effort by Parks, Stewardship Group, Kitsap County Amateur Radio Club, the Rotary Club, and you know, just a lot of people involved in the school district, because we had to get permission from the school district to use the parking lot. We have had to get the stewards to approve it. This is the 3rd year it's been held in Newberry Hill Heritage Park. The runners love it. And all the proceeds go to food for the hungry in Kitsap County. So last year's run raised approximately $18,000. So that is taking place Thanksgiving morning. It's crazy. People show up in costumes. They've got weird clothes, turkey hats. And there's a kids dash, a 1 mile, a 5K and a 10K runs. They're timed with chips. Anyway, if you're interested in seeing starts, you can register at 7 a.m. There's been online registration. I think our 5K last year had 500 people. It was a crowd.
Didn't you mention that it was at $45 to do the 10K?
I think the 10K is right. It's 40 or 45. I wouldn't swear, and then it's less. But we did make a decision this year after somebody contacted us and said, you know, to register our whole family is over $200. And so now there's a policy that, you know, a family and kids, $100 max. Whether they have 2 kids or 6 kids, it's $100 max. And anyway, so the ham radio operators, I mean, they drive in, they are situated all around the loop where there's very iffy cell phone signals. And then I'm part of that group too. So I'm at the start finish line, and we actually have used it twice. That there's been a situation where those guys have come in handy.
That's a great use of a park.
So it's really a good community effort, and something that if you want information for your parks or whatever, it just really works up there. So
thank you, Nancy, for all your hard work. All right. Any other new business? Okay, looks like we.
As long as we're talking about Newberry Hill and everything, just thought I'd let y'all know that the Mountaineers are leading a hike through there on Friday, Black Friday, and it's going to actually be going through some of the areas that need thinning, areas that have been thinned a long time ago, and stuff like this. And we've got some naturalists who are going through with us to be working on a little bit of public outreach for the whole prospect. And hopefully this is going to turn into a recurring thing so we can help educate people.
That's at Banner Forest?
No, that's going to be at Newberry Hill.
Okay, wow. Excellent. Thank you.
Frank said I could do it.
So are they posted on the park website, those events? Do we know?
Yes, so any event that is registered with us is on our outward public facing event calendar on our website.
Great.
So is that something that there's parks people involved with, you know, showing them around, or is it just the Mountaineers?
Go ahead, Larry.
This is strictly with a hike with the Mountaineers and everything. I've got some people who are trying to become certified as hike leaders, and so I figured I would kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so that we could get some people certified and also do a little bit of educational outreach to any of the Mountaineers that want to come listen. And possibly we can turn this into something that it can also run through parks and everything, and we can do educational outreach.
Could you send me information on that?
I wouldn't mind seeing information about that too. And is there a fee for that?
You have to put up with me. That's the only price you pay.
Newberry is a good place to do that, because we were the first to have variable density thinning, and the first year was a disaster. And then after that, most of the places it's been done, you know, you wouldn't even know it's been done.
Yeah, we're going to be walking right past that area just off the Seebeck gate. So we're going to walk right past that. And by the way, that area is looking really nice. And then we're going to go down into the wetlands and come back and see the big difference between stuff that's been thinned and that stuff on the west side of the service road over there by the sign that, you know, does not look pretty.
All right. I think that's it for the business. So now we are opening up for public comment, another 3-minute section for public. Any Follow-up comments from people?
We have Joe Lubisher.
I'll wear a different hat this time, and add CPAP, and I'm looking at Irene. Multi-use trails are a slippery slope. Around the world, this is an issue. It's not just here, it's not just in this country, it's because different people have different ideas about how they want to get around. And if you say multi-use, does that mean that e-bikes can use the trails? What kind of e-vehicles can use the trails? I was in the middle of Egmont Forest and was passed up by a unicycle e-vehicle. They're everywhere. Yeah, so the concern is it's a slippery slope. When will we get to the point where we're being asked to pave those trails? Because it's really difficult to maintain bike trails. They take constant tending. So just a suggestion that we might consider not having multi-use trails in a park like Port Gamble, 3,500 acres, many miles of logging roads. They already have Ranger Corridor. They have Hope Trail, or no, the Hood Trail. I always say the wrong thing, which I think Linda might have meant. The Hood Trail has the sign at the top.
Yeah.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Downhill has been decommissioned. They also have the Ride Park. That's a lot of acreage devoted to bikes. People walking have one trail now, really, in essence, is the Shoreline Trail. And I love it. I use it a lot. It's not being maintained right now because it's in permitting process. Tessa's Trail used to be a walking trail, but you walk up it and you're now in a parking lot. The spur trails are very short. So there's not much for walkers. So I would ask parks to consider that when they look at Port Gamble Forest. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
I would just comment, and I don't see it being used much other places. In Newberry, we've got a couple spots where it says foot traffic only. And it's we've had to decommission a road trail twice, but now it's pretty much stayed where I just don't see, bikes there. But we've also got some trails that are it doesn't say bikes only. It's probably maybe should because they're more technical bike trails. And I know at Port Gamble the trails, I don't remember the name. It was one of my favorite trails, and they made all those fancy curves. Use the hood. Yes, that one does say no foot traffic.
No, at the top, it says horses, bikers.
No, that's not
walkers.
the hood. The one I'm talking about is closer to Port Gamble town. Like it'd go up.
Not Ranger, you're talking, was it steep?
It's the one. So there was a day where it snowed and there was only one car, mine, in the parking lot. And so I decided with my friend to walk down this trail, and I couldn't walk on it. I mean, it was such huge curves. And
I think that is the hood.
is that the,
It's either
Yeah,
the,
and
or
then it's that's also the sign that's.
it used to, it had a sign that said, well, there was a sign for 3 trails, and it was like difficult, extreme.
that's the corridor, the Ranger corridor, and they have like Al Pacino and Ranger
Yeah.
used to be my favorite uphill.
Ranger's the one.
And the thing, I walked up it the other day and some guy was at the top of the trail on his bike and he goes, "Oh, you're brave." And I said, "Hey, I've been walking this trail for 30 years. I'm not going to stop because the bikers have taken it over. I'm just not,
Well,
I'm going to continue." I said, I have ears, I can listen, you know, if I hear a biker, I'll move. But, no, it's not fair. I don't think, you know, as somebody that put a lot of money into that park and has been using it since before it was even a park, to start, you know, taking places away from walkers because bikers want them. You know, it's my opinion.
We have a public comment online.
Yeah.
Joe Lubisher.
Oh, Joe Lubisher.
Joe, you're now allowed to talk.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Joe Lubisher from Indianola. Can you hear me okay?
Be a little loud.
All right, I have half a dozen points here, so let me try to race through them. First one is a request to the Parks Department. Can you please decide where you're going to post the agenda and the Zoom link? You know, for a while it was on the PAB board, the PAB webpage, and then it was on the front page. Today was different. I know you didn't have an official meeting, but I would like you to simplify the system so I only have to look one place. And I know you have a 24-hour requirement for posting, but it would actually be nice, you know, if it were a few days ahead, and then it gives us some ability to plan whether or not to go to the meeting, etc. Second point, this is North Kitsap Heritage Park experience. Beaver deceivers are old technology. We use level control. It's much simpler. I'm glad to give you either wet or dry demonstration if you want to come over to the beaver pond at that park.
I'm afraid that is this.
Speak up a little. I'm having trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Could you speak up a little? I can barely hear you.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Sorry.
Is that better?
Well, a little.
No. Is that any better?
Well, just go ahead. Just
No.
speak clearly so we can hear you. I just want to make sure I'm hearing what you're saying.
Okay, so number two, beaver control, use level control. My third point was a reaction to bells on bikes, and think that through. Consider those of us that may be hard of hearing or even deaf. It's really about biker responsibility. Point number four, some of the park staff have been saying that all parks trails have to be multi-use. So I would agree with the point that this issue needs to be looked at. There are weaknesses to a multi-use concept. Number five, John, if I may take a different view, county code says that parks are non-motorized. When Mr. Wisniewski told staff that state parks rules allowing class 1 and 3 was allowed, that was outside his authority. So something needs to change before e-bikes are actually officially allowed in parks. And I would, you know, I may argue that I think non-motorized policy has real benefits. North Kitsap Park has been posted for years that way. But at any rate, you should also consider liability. If there are accidents with any kind of motorized bike, the county is liable. The county is not indemnified under the state law for motorized vehicles or motorized bicycles. And last point, I've been asking for a budget breakdown on the $1.9 million CIP item for, well, since July at least. And I just don't see why the Parks Department can't provide that, you know, and it's a little bit of a sore point. I had to go buy trash bags this year because we couldn't get them from parks. So the fact that you're treating 2/3 of your CIP budget as, you know, one big chunk that we don't know where it's going, I think that needs some attention. So I'd like to request that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Any other comments from the public? No. Oh, Josie's, okay, looks like that's all the comments tonight. If that's it, then I would ask for a motion to end the meeting.
So moved. Larry.
Second.
Again, John.
Thank you, everyone. Great
Oh,
meeting.
hi, Amy. We got two Amy's.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Back in August.
Please.